How wrong was I? Tyson Fury absolutely flattens Deontay Wilder in the 11th round. Just to go through this fight, round by round, Deontay Wilder came out in the first round, some very good, accurate, stiff jabs to the body, even attempting the right hand to the body a couple of times. I feel like this was a good move by Wilder because he started the fight assertively and clearly took on board some of the feedback that he should invest in the body of Tyson Fury more, rather than just headhunting. Tyson Fury closed the round out with a clean right hand on Deontay Wilder, but I just felt that the activity and the accuracy of Deontay Wilder got him that round. Round two, there was a bit more wrestling, less punching, and that one I'd have to give to Tyson Fury. Round three came, and Tyson Fury scored a knockdown. Short right hand on the inside, just caught Deontay Wilder, sent him down. It really came out of the blue because they were kind of tied up a little bit. Tyson Fury just found the space, found the leverage, down went Deontay Wilder. Round four, Deontay Wilder gets his own back on Tyson Fury, knocking Fury down not once but twice with right hands. Sent ripples going through the flab of Tyson Fury. Round five, Wilder, I gave him that round just because he pressed the action more, but you'd kind of expect that, seeing as Tyson Fury got knocked down twice. He'd probably want to get his bearings back. And come round six, I was pretty much in line with the unofficial scorecast that was being shown on the telecast that had Wilder winning 47-45. I thought I had my scorecard exactly the same as that, but I did feel that round six was a closer round that Fury had won. Probably been able to regain himself, recovered from the knockdowns, looking to get back into the fight. Round seven, some good body shots were scored from Tyson Fury, and Wilder was hurt again. So another Fury round, as was 8 and 9. Those three rounds, Tyson Fury buzzed Wilder noticeably on a couple of occasions in each round. So he's definitely had a stranglehold in the fight. Round 10 comes, and a clean right hand, a very short right hand, drops Wilder. So that's 10-8 to Fury once again. But Wilder did respond well. Even though it was in the 10th round and he got knocked down, I didn't feel like Wilder was going to unfold anytime soon. Felt like he was still present. Round 11 came and the fight was all over. Tyson Fury was kind of tying Wilder up, pushed him back against the ropes, just landed a peach of a right hook, sent Wilder almost face first, and yeah, the referee waved it off. So in case you haven't seen my pre-fight video, I predicted that Tyson Fury would win on points. So it came close, the fight almost went distance, but Tyson Fury insisted on stopping Deontay Wilder. But I didn't think that this fight would be as entertaining. And I got to hold my hands up, you know. I got it very, very wrong indeed. This was a great fight. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it, because it's certainly worth it. And even though I got my prediction wrong, I feel like the psychological factors were pretty much as I described, because Tyson Fury looked noticeably flabbier and fatter. In the second fight, he's no chiseled Adonis, but he looked strong in that second fight. He looked like someone who trained well. Tyson Fury's never going to look like Anthony Joshua. They're two different gene pools, if you will. But Tyson Fury looked like he hadn't trained as hard for this fight. And that's not surprising, because if you look at Tyson Fury's attitude, especially in the lead up to this fight, in the last week even, he looked like he didn't have much to work off of in terms of being able to retaliate to what Deontay Wilder was doing. Deontay Wilder was trying to do his best stoic impression. And so Tyson Fury is historically someone who, he needs to be up for a fight. He needs to feel threatened. He needs to feel like people are gunning for him. But I don't think he sensed that in this fight. So he was trying to G himself up. He was trying to antagonize Wilder. And Wilder, for the most part, wasn't biting. And so I think that's not just something that's reserved for the fight week. I think Tyson Fury has felt like this for the entire camp. And as such, the intensity of his training and his preparation just hasn't been there. But also I noticed that on the way to the ring, Tyson Fury, he looked a little bit nervous. He looked a little bit wide-eyed, a little bit jittery. And I felt that Tyson Fury was aware that he hadn't prepared as well as he could. And when you know you haven't prepared as well as you can, no matter how confident you are, there's maybe a doubt in your mind that this could be the night you get turned over. Because remember, Tyson Fury hasn't lost the fight. So he's still dealing with that undefeated, or the pressure that comes with being undefeated. And on the flip side, as I outlined in the pre-fight video also, Deontay Wilder is no longer dealing with that pressure. Deontay Wilder took his licks in the first fight, and he now knows how it feels to lose. And if anything, that can light a fire underneath some fighters, because they feel the sting of defeat and they say to themselves, I don't want to feel that again. And in some people's eyes, this might not be much, but how many times have we heard the saying that boxing is 80% mental? I mean, you can't really put a percentage on it. It's quite arbitrary, but the fact is that not just boxing, but every sport, but boxing especially, there's a large psychological component to it, because you are going into the ring to fight another man. Imagine being Deontay Wilder and going into the ring to fight a man who absolutely battered you in the last time you stepped in the ring together. And for that reason, Deontay Wilder, for all his flaws, he's someone who is at the sore end of a lot of criticism. And a lot of that criticism is warranted. I did a video on this months ago. But you cannot deny the bravery and the heart of Deontay Wilder. Technically, he is poor. He's got power, but his balance isn't great. His coordination isn't great for the most part. But he has heart. He has 10 out of 10 heart. This is an extremely brave man. And look, he may be at the pinnacle of delusion, but you cannot take away the heart of this man, because this is someone who was knocked down 3 times in this fight alone and tried to get up every single time. It was only the last fight, the last knockdown, the referee didn't give him a count. And even then, Wilder, you could see he just wanted to, but his body wouldn't let him. So massive credit in defeat to Deontay Wilder, because yes, he's not that graceful in defeat. And yes, he comes up with excuses and all that stuff. But in the square, in the ring, you have to give him credit. Tyson Fury, on the other hand, you also have to give him credit. But Tyson Fury's, there's the top 3 out of Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder has lost, as has Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury's time is coming. Tyson Fury will not stay undefeated. And a lot of people may take issue with that. A lot of those people aren't objective boxing fans. But I think this fight shows that, yes, Tyson Fury has got skills. He's a very slick fighter for a big man. And he recovers extremely well from being knocked down. I think that's probably Tyson Fury's best attribute, is the fact that this guy can get knocked down by a punch of the caliber of Wilder, and he'll look up, he'll get up, and he'll just brush himself off, and he's straight back in. And Hatman picked up on this because it's true. Tyson Fury's ability to recover from being knocked down, severely knocked down, heavily knocked down, is remarkable. And that's something that can set him apart. But Tyson Fury's weakness is his mind. Don't get me wrong, he can be beaten technically by the right person, but it's his mind. His mind lets him down. When his mind is where it should be, he's on fire. If he's just below that, you're going to see some very shaky performances by Tyson Fury. And so I felt like, as I say, I got my prediction wrong, not just based on the result. Even though I picked Tyson Fury to win, I thought he'd win on points. And I felt the fight would be a bit more boring, a bit more mundane than it actually was. So it was very wrong in that respect. But the psychological factors, I feel like, excuse me, I predicted those correctly. And so it's interesting to see what happens next, because you'd like to think that this chapter, this saga, this Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder chapter comes to an end. Hopefully it does, and we can see Tyson Fury finally go off with his WBC belt, and hopefully we see undisputed. What do you guys think of Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk? Because in my opinion, that is a very interesting fight, and hopefully we see it sooner rather than later. So I think that's everything I have to say on this fight. As I say, if you haven't seen this fight, check it out, because it's a good fight. It's a real good fight. Also, where does Deontay Wilder go from now? Because does Deontay Wilder hang him up? Does he call it a day? Or does he go on the road to recovery? Because if he chooses the latter option, I think it's a very long and hard road back. And is his team willing to invest in that? We shall find out. But yeah, check the fight out in case you haven't seen it. Thanks for watching. As always, if you could like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get some discussion going in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.